Hello, dear students. I am Samir Velankar. I welcome all of you to this another video on the topic linked list data structure. In this video, we will be seeing some questions on linked list. Some of these questions were asked in GATE exam, and some questions have been made particularly just by trial and error. Some questions have been made to solidify our fundamentals on linked list. Let's see GATE 1998 question. Now, what they are saying is there is a pointer P be a pointer as shown in the figure in a linked list, single linked list. So P is a pointer. Observe that P has been shown at cell I. So they are calling this node as cell. So this is the node I, ith node, and P is pointing to this node. P has been shown at this place. So obviously the cell I is pointing to the next node, which is cell I plus 1, that is node I plus 1, then node I plus 2, node I plus 3, and so on. So they are calling node as a cell. Now they are asking what do the following assignment statements achieve? Now remember in 1998, the question paper for GATE used to be subjective instead of objective. So you had to write in words what does this statement mean. Now you just check Q is equal to P arrow next means Q must be a pointer and Q will point wherever P arrow next points. So easily Q will point wherever P arrow next, this next points. So Q will point to cell I plus 1. So the answer should be due to this line, the very first line, Q points to cell I plus 1. Now the next line is P arrow next should point wherever Q arrow next points. Now first of all, find out where is Q arrow next pointing. Observe the cursor movement. Q arrow next, this next we are talking about, this one is pointing to cell I plus 2. And what is written here is the statement says P arrow next should point wherever Q arrow next points, but Q arrow next points to cell I plus 2. So P arrow next also should point to cell I plus 2. Now notice P arrow next, check the cursor place. P arrow next, this next we are talking about, should point to cell I plus 2. Isn't it so? So basically what will happen is P arrow next was pointing to cell I plus 1, but now P arrow next will point to cell I plus 2. So this link, the link which I am striking off is broken now because P arrow next points wherever Q arrow next points. Check that Q arrow next is pointing to cell I plus 2. So P arrow next also points to cell I plus 2. So we can say the description of this line is P arrow next. This is a pointer, isn't it? P arrow next is a pointer, points to, sorry for this, wait a minute. Okay, points to cell I plus 2. All right, what's the next line then? Q arrow next is equal to Q arrow next arrow next. This is read as Q arrow next should point to the same cell where Q arrow next points. Now you just find out the right hand side, Q arrow next. Let's trace this. Follow the cursor. Q arrow next. This is the next we are talking about. Arrow next. This is the next we are talking about. Next of cell I plus 2, isn't it? Isn't it so? And what is asked here is Q arrow next, the left hand side. Observe Q arrow next should point wherever Q arrow next points. That means Q arrow next, the pointer where I am pointing to, should point to next node. Isn't it so? That means the meaning of this line is q arrow next points to cell I plus 3. In other words, you can also write next pointer of cell I plus 1 points to cell I plus 3. Isn't it so? Let's see the last line. P arrow next should point wherever q points. First of all, you just check where is P arrow next should point wherever q points. By the way, q is pointing to cell I plus 1, isn't it? So P arrow next, check the cursor, arrow next. This next we are talking about. Next of cell I plus stops and wherever. Okay, I'll draw the line. I'll draw the line. Lot of lines up there. Okay. What about this? P arrow next, this next should point wherever q points. That means it will point to the same node where q points. What that means is next pointer of cell I plus 2 actually was pointing to cell I plus 3, but next pointer of cell I plus 2 will now point to cell I plus 1. This is next pointer of cell I plus 1, I plus 2 will point to cell I plus 1. I guess you have followed it. Just follow the pointer conventions and I hope you have understood this. Now let's go to a practice question. As I said, all questions here in this video are not gate questions. Let's see a practice question. What does the following function do for a given linked list with first node as head? What that means is we are having some linked list. If not given, it is singly linked list. Okay, it's just a singly linked list with some values, and you know, as it is a singly linked list, there is a next pointer in every node which points to next node, and next pointer in the last node is null, and there is a head pointer pointing to the very first node of the list. Now that head pointer has been passed. Okay, now just don't go into the matter of pointer to pointer and all that, because in the videos of programs where we saw singly linked list programs and doubly linked list programs, we saw that the function was getting pointer to pointer. Assume that we have head here, we have the pointer called head, and it points to the first node as given in the question. Now what is this function going to do? The options asked are prints alternate nodes in the reverse order, prints all nodes of the linked list, and so on. So the best way is to run this. Now this is a recursive function. The function name is try. Now we will run the recursive function by writing that try is running in such a way that head is the parameter passed and head is at 10. You will agree. Initially, when this function try is called, head, the parameter head is pointing to 10. Now let's go in the function, read the function, and we are asking, is head equal to null? If head is null, then return. Return means end the function. But head equal to null is false because head is pointing to 10, isn't it? So this portion will not run. Obviously, and the next line will run. Next line is called to try. So try gets called with head arrow next. Now you see head arrow next is the next of 10. And next of 10 is storing nothing but address of 20, address of the node which stores 20. So here is the recursive call, try head arrow next. So try gets called recursively. Try is called with head parameter. Again, the parameter is still head, isn't it? The function is having the parameter as head. But what is the parameter going to receive is, it's going to receive address of 20. So the parameter head now is at 20. So there is a new pointer called head again. But this pointer head is different from the earlier pointer head. Both these pointers named as head are still there in the memory. It's not that because we have head at 20, we don't have head at 10. Both these pointers are there in the memory, each local, each head is local to its own function. Okay, so now the recursive call executes with the parameter head is pointing to 20. If you start this fresh function, you know head is at 20. As head is at 20, head cannot be null. So the function doesn't end with return and the next line runs, which is try. Call to try with head arrow next. Observe head arrow next is nothing but next pointer of 20, which stores address of 30. So we are again passing address of 30. So try gets called recursively with parameter head again, with head at 30. So when you start this new function with head pointer at 30, it is again not null, head is again not null. So return doesn't execute and the recursive function gets executed. The recursive function is call try with head parameter with head at 40. That is the next node. Head is now pointing at 40. Now when you start try head with head at 40, head is again not null, isn't it? So equal to null is false. So try gets called with head arrow next. Now, if try gets called with head arrow next, notice head arrow next is 40 is next, which is null. So are you understanding? Try gets called with a null value. This head parameter now is going to receive null value. So what will happen when try null runs? I don't have a room here, but you just imagine the try, the topmost try here calls another try with head equal to null. So if the try is called with head equal to null, the function has the if statement true. Hence the function will end. But which function will end? The function which was running with head equal to null, that function ends. And if that function ends, then the try head with head at 40 resumes. The function which I am encircling now resumes. And obviously this function will resume from the next line from where it had left out. So it is going to resume with printf head arrow data. I'm so sorry for this. This is head arrow data. Okay. So what is head arrow data now? 40. So 40 will be the first output, isn't it? But after printing head arrow data, the function is going to come to end. Which try is over now? The try function, which was running with head at 40, is over. So obviously the calling function resumes. That is try head with head at 30. You can see that the function which was running for node 40 is over and we are back to the function which was running for node 30. If that function resumes, head at 30 resumes, then obviously it will resume with printf because it had finished its recursive call last time and it prints head arrow data. Head arrow data is 30. So the first output was 40, second output was 30, and you can now easily check this that the next output will be 20. When this function resumes, it will resume with printf. So it will print 20, and when try resumes with head at 10, it will resume with the printf, printing 10. So it will print all the nodes in the reverse order. D is the correct option. Sorry for not ordering this properly, but D is the correct option and it prints all the nodes of the linked list in reverse order. Okay. Let's see one more practice question. Now here we have been given a function again called try. Following function takes a reference to head of a doubly linked list as a parameter. Okay. So there is a pointer passed to the first node of the linked list, doubly linked list. Assume that a node of a doubly linked list has previous pointer as prev and next pointer as next. We already use these names in our program. Now the function has been given try, and then what is written is assume that reference of first pointer of the following doubly linked list is passed. What is the doubly linked list? You observe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is the data stored in the doubly linked list. So basically we have a doubly linked list like this. 1, next points to 2, next points to 3, points to 4, points to 5, points to 6, and 6 next is null. But 6 previous points to 5. Yes, every node has previous and next. Previous of 3 points to 2, previous of 2 points to 1, and previous of 1 is null. You know that structure of doubly linked list, isn't it? And what they are saying is there is a pointer called first passed, which points to the head of the list. Okay. Now, for some time, you can ignore this pointer to pointer. Actually, what I'll tell you, there is a pointer called head. Okay. I'll just erase this. There is a pointer called head, which actually points to the heading of the linked list. Okay. And then there is a pointer called first, which is pointer to pointer. So now inside the function, if you write asterisk first anywhere, asterisk first means value to which first points, that is head. So asterisk first will be same as head. We have seen this many times in our doubly linked list program or singly linked list program. Okay. So first is a pointer to pointer which points to head of the linked list. Now let's see what the function does. The question is, what should be the modified linked list after the function call? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 will become what? They are asking. That can be seen only after executing this. What we are doing is, let's see in the function. We declare a temp pointer which can point to any node, and we initialize that temp as null. So there is a pointer called temp which can point to any node 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but it is null at the moment. We declare one more pointer a which can point to a node, and it is initialized as asterisk first. Remember, asterisk first is same as head. So the pointer a will point wherever head points. So the pointer a will point at 1. I hope you are getting this. Now we start a while loop, and this while will continue as long as a is not null. And you know a is not null because a is pointing. A is pointing at 1. So the condition is true. So let's enter the while and make temp is equal to a arrow prev. Now watch, what is temp is equal to a arrow prev means. Look at this. What is a arrow prev? Follow the cursor. A arrow prev means prev of 1, but that's null, isn't it? We are saying temp should become equal to null because temp should become equal to a arrow prev. But anyway, temp is null and it will remain null. Okay. Next line is a arrow prev is equal to a arrow next. Let's see again a arrow prev. A arrow prev means prev of 1. This prev should become equal to a arrow next, isn't it? But what is a arrow next? A arrow next is pointing to 2. That means prev of 1 should point to 2. Very interesting, isn't it? So prev of 1 was actually null, but it won't be null anymore because it is pointing to 2. Let's see what is the next line. A arrow next should be equal to temp. Watch out. A arrow next. A arrow next. This next. One's next. One's next should become equal to temp. But what is temp? Temp is null. Yes, temp is null. So the one's next will become null. Yes, everyone. A arrow next, that is one's next, should become equal to temp, but temp is null. So this one's next, which was pointing at 2, will not point anymore to 2, but one's next, oh, I'm so sorry, but one's next will become null. Okay, we have next of 1. me check this. Next of 1 will be null. But previous of 2 is still pointing. Previous of 2 we have not changed. And we have previous of 1 pointing at 2. Okay. Okay, A arrow next equal to temp, done. Now A equal to A arrow prev. Let's see. A should point wherever A arrow prev is pointing, but A arrow prev is pointing to 2. That means A should point wherever A arrow prev points, means A should point to 2. Interesting, isn't it? So now the pointer A will point to 2. This will point to 2. Okay, after A is equal to A arrow prev, let's get back to while, and while says that it will repeat only if A is not null. Very well, A is not null, A is pointing at 2. So let's execute these lines. Temp should become equal to A arrow prev. What is A arrow prev? Let's see. A arrow prev means prev of 2. And you notice prev of 2 is pointing to, yes, is pointing to 1. So temp will point to 1. Temp will become equal to A arrow prev, means temp will point to the same node where A arrow prev is pointing. So temp won't be null anymore. It was null all this time. Okay. Next line. A arrow prev should be equal to A arrow next. See this. A arrow prev, this prev of 2 should be equal to A arrow next. But A arrow next means next of 2. Next of 2 is pointing to 3. That means A arrow prev will discontinue to point to 1. 2's prev will not point to 1, but 2's prev will point to 3. Isn't it? So what are we going to have? This link is broken and we will have A arrow prev, that is 2's prev pointing wherever 2's next points, A arrow next points. The next line is A arrow next equal to temp. That means A arrow next. See this next of 2 we are talking about should point wherever temp is pointing, but temp is pointing to 1. So A arrow next will discontinue to point to 3, but A arrow next will discontinue to point to 3, but it will point back to 1. It is so interesting, you observe. What's happening, is that this doubly linked list is getting reversed. Very early I told you, actually I should have given a chance for you to think what's happening. But in one of the videos, before solving these gate questions and practice questions, we saw how to reverse a singly linked list. And what's happening here, you see, is that this doubly linked list is getting reversed. By the way, we have reached A arrow next equal to temp, isn't it? Now the next line is A is equal to A arrow prev. So A should point wherever A arrow prev points, but A arrow prev points at 3. So now the pointer A will point to 3. So now we can summarize this. When we repeat the loop, what will happen is 3's prev of 3 will point to 4. It's like this. Okay. So prev of 3 won't point to 2 anymore. This association will be broken. And other thing is, next of 3 will point back to 2. Next of 3 will point to 2. Okay. So this link, next of 3 was pointing to 4, but now next of 3 will point back to 2. This is what will happen. Are you following? And also A, before we repeat the loop, A will point to 4. A will point to 4. So what's happening really, I will draw here. What's happening, when we reach 6 here, 6, what will prev of 6 point to? Prev of 6 will point to next node, but hello, next is null. Are you understanding? So prev of 6 will become null. I hope you are getting it. Just check this. Whenever we are at any node, what we do? The previous pointer of that node points wherever next pointer of the node is pointing. But the next pointer of 6 is null. So previous of 6 will be null. So we will have a node with 6 whose previous is null. Correct? So the prev of 6 is going to be null. If we reach 6, one in the loop like that, and we also know that next of this node points back to 5, isn't it? So next of 6 will point to 5. Are you following what I am saying? Isn't it? Yes, everyone. I hope you got the idea of what this function is exactly doing. But meanwhile, you must have seen that when we go back to 5, then 5's prev points to 6 and 5's next points to 4. This is what was happening, isn't it? So you can see 5's prev is pointing to 6. That means prev of 5 points to 6 and next of 5 points to 4. Obviously, prev of 4 will point to 5, next of 4 will point to 3. So we are going to get a reversed linked list. So basically, the output of this function will be 654 321. Option C is correct. So by solving this practice question, I also have explained you how to reverse a doubly linked list. Doubly linked list. I fully agree that I may not have done complete justice with this question because over and over explanation may be sometimes irritating. And of course the slate is also messy as usual. But if you go word by word and second by second in this video, I hope you have understood how to reverse a doubly linked list. Okay. Here is another practice question. What is the output of following function for head pointing to the first node of the linked list? Now the linked list is storing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 again. So let's say we are having a singly linked list. If not given, you assume it is singly linked list. So in this, nothing was told about the type of list. So you assume it is singly linked list. And head is pointing to the first node of this singly linked list. The name of the function is fun. Now fun starts with head pointing at 1. So if you start the recursive function with fun, having parameter head with head at 1, head at node 1, run this function, you will see if head is null, you are asking. If head is null, then return. But head isn't null. Head is pointing to 1. So the function won't end. But the next line will run, which prints head arrow data. Now head arrow data is 1. So the first output is going to be 1. Okay. So I'll better write the output here. First output is 1. Now what happens after printf is, we are asking if head arrow next is not equal to null. Yeah, head arrow next is not null. You follow the cursor, head arrow next is pointing to 2. So as head arrow next is not null, we are calling fun recursively. If fun is called recursively, look how it is called, what is passed. Head arrow next is passed. Head, follow the cursor again, head, arrow next, arrow next. That means address of node 3 is passed. And that address of node 3 will get copied in the head pointer, isn't it? The parameter head now will receive the address of 3. So the recursive call here becomes fun runs with head parameter, but head pointing at node 3. Head is pointing at node 3. I don't have to repeat that both the heads, head at 1 and head at 3, are available in the memory and both are local to their own functions. Now you can just understand what happens, when when fun runs, when this fun function runs with head at 3. Hello, don't come to any conclusion, okay, that alternate nodes are printed and all that. You better execute this function with immense patience, line after line. Okay, head is at now 3. Is head null? No, false. So it doesn't return. That is, the function doesn't end and it prints 3. So the second output will be 3. Now we are checking if head arrow next is not equal to null. Now you watch head arrow next, check the cursor. Head arrow next means next of 3. Next of 3 is not null, true condition, isn't it? So fun is called recursively again. Fun will be called recursively with head arrow next, arrow next. So what are we really passing is head, arrow next, arrow next. That means we are passing address of phi. Now, in case we pass address of phi here, then fun is going to start again. Fun will start with head parameter and head at phi. Head will be at phi. So this head pointer is now pointing at phi. If you start this function again, head is now pointing to phi. Head equal to null is false. So it will print head arrow data. So the next output printed will be phi. And now we are checking, is head arrow next not equal to null? Now you note head arrow next is really not null. It is pointing to 6. So fun gets called. This recursive function gets called with head arrow next, arrow next. This is fun. This is fun. Now what is head arrow next, arrow next? It is next of phi and next of that node. So it is next of 6. But next of 6 is null. So please try to understand what we are passing to the fun function is literally null value, because head arrow next, the pointer next of 6 is null. So do you understand? Fun gets called with the parameter head equal to null now. Parameter head is null. So fun gets called with parameter head, and head is null. Head is literally equal to null. The pointer is null. So now when you run this function, you can see that head equal to null is true. As head equal to null is true, it will return. What return means? Function will end, isn't it? Come on, the void function will end. Void function is not returning any value, but it is just returning the control. Return means simply end the function. But which function is going to end, you see? The function that will end is fun head with head equal to null. This is the function which was running with head equal to null. So the function with head equal to null ends, and obviously the calling function resumes. Well, the calling function was fun head with head at phi. Now this is your big test, big test. Now when fun head resumes with head at phi, notice what will resume in that function. Obviously it will resume with the next line. Next line after recursion was printf head arrow data. So it prints head arrow data, but head arrow data should be phi, because we are in the function where head is at phi. So obviously it is going to print phi. But after printing, after printf, the function simply ends with close brace. That means fun head with head at phi is going to end. If it's going to end, its local parameter head is going to get destroyed. And we are back to fun head with head at 3. We are back to this function, and come on, this function will also resume with the printf, isn't it? Because it has finished its recursive call and it is coming back from recursive call. So it will resume with its printf, printing 3, head arrow data is 3, and the function will end. Function ends, destroying its parameter 3. And obviously the function that will resume will be fun head with head at 1. Obviously it will resume with the last printf, print 1, and then end. So head, the parameter head which was meant for 1, the parameter will be destroyed. So the output which matches with the options given is obviously it should be D. Very interesting question, isn't it? Okay, so we have solved some gate one or two gate questions, I don't remember, and a few practice questions. I got another video in which we will solve some more questions of this manner. Thank you very much.